Alright, grab a seat, guys. So here to describe the 6-hour Eurostar journey.
At least 6, yeah.
And then you have the added luxury of keeping us from the bar, Grégoire.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much for persevering. So everybody, give Grégoire a big welcome, please.
So, can you hear me? Yeah.
Mike, what channels the radio?
5.
Try now?
Yeah, sounds good. So hello everybody, it will be a challenge today because it's the last position before the beers. So I will try to be quick. And as Jai said, it was a long journey from Paris to London, but I'm very happy to be here with part of our Dimsi team. Today, I will present you a framework we are working with at Dimsi, which is a framework which might be interesting for different people of the community. A framework used to provide instance service related inside CloudStack. During today's talk, I will first make a quick presentation of Dimsi and our philosophy, an overview of the project, some tech.
Do you want a hand mic?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, no, it will be fine. It's okay. I will present you some technical details, and if you need and if you want to have additional things, we have part of the development team here, and they will be happy to answer in front of some beers. And I will present implementation demo, and together we will, during this 5 minutes demo, I will show you how we can easily provide IIS implementation inside on the top of CloudStack deployment. And we will finish with what's next, so next items and next steps of the project, and if you have any question, I will be happy to answer. So about us, Dimsi. Okay. So as you can hear, Dimsi, we are a French company, and we've been created in 2006, and this year we are composed by a team of 12 people. We are working on a shared model, which means that our workers are the shareholders of the company. We do not have external shareholders or very limited one. We implement a salary model, which is the same for all people inside the company, and Vincent here is working hardly to maintain this model viable. And last point, we have 1% for humanity, which means every year we give back 1% of our turnover for charities and public projects. At Dimsi, we have two business, and we are software specialists. We have a team of .NET developers, Java developers, most senior one. And we also are working on integration on business systems such as Dynamics 365, for those who know this product, which is a CRM of Microsoft. And on the other part, we are infrastructure experts, which means we are operating a CloudStack infrastructure. We start working with CloudStack when it was still on the Citrix. We start working with the Citrix implementation. It was called Cloud Platform, and it was the version 4.7. Our platform is currently available in Europe from a data center located in Paris, and in Asia from Hong Kong. I will show you our CloudStack implementation because it's important to know how we work to understand the project I will show you later. So as I mentioned, our implementation is located in two geographical zones, Europe and Asia. For our customer, it was important to have only one core system to create instance, to manage network, to manage VPN between VPC. So we've created what we call the Dimsi core services, which basically is a set of APIs and a big website where a customer can connect from Europe, USA, Asia, whatever. And they have a single point of entry where they can manage their instance in Europe and in Asia. So we have the core services, we have a portal, which is a website where our customer connect and manage, an API where we can expose very high-level methods, easier than CloudStack one for some customer. And we added a management service, sorry, which is a service that can manage different points. I will show you in the next slide. For example, we have planification jobs. Customer, they might define a VM working from 8 to 10 on Saturday and then this VM to shut down. So we have this kind of planification and other services inside this deployment service. And for us, this service implementation is also used for technical purposes. So I will show you during this, I think it's a 5-minute video, which is for really the core features of our cloud. And the next slide will be dedicated to the project. It won't talk. Now it's working. So this is our portal where our customer can connect. When they connect, they go to the dashboard. We've done this first because our customer were saying CloudStack UI was a bit complex for them. So we tried to create an easier one. That was a few years ago. And then we upgrade this interface from day to day. And now we have a very, very full set of features. I missed this, but this is a case management system. This is something not provided by CS. We wanted something integrated, so our customers, they can manage their case, create case, close case, increase case priority directly from their system. This is the instant management page. This is important for later understanding. So here we can see all instances created in Europe, in Asia, with quite the same features as those provided by CloudStack UI. So most of the buttons just make CloudStack calls. This is one thing important for our customer, and I will just stop a minute if I can, and I can't. Okay. So this is a tool that was really asked by our customer. At Dimsi, we make daily backups of all customer instances. It means every night we make incremental backup of customer. The thing is, many customers wanted to be able to directly download back a file from a backup set. So we had many times the requirement. So we decided to create this feature. Here you can see all backup related to one instance. So the customer can choose the time using this slider, which displays the backup available. Then, when you go on the restore one, you have the same slider. You can choose the backup set, and directly from the backup set, our customer, they can choose the partition, and then they have access to the file system. What is done in the background is we are mounting the VHD, and we using RabbitMQ. This is the point why I show you this. Using RabbitMQ, we are speaking with the VHD, and the customer can select the file and download to his computer. We use the same backend technology for planification. I was mentioning instance planification earlier. This interface allows customer to define time frame where instance should be definitely up or should be down using 1 hour delay or using the full day. This is something interesting for customer because sometimes they do want to make overbooking of resources, so they can work with instance running at night and at day. The same technology using RabbitMQ. This is a file transfer tool which allows end user to directly push and get files from instance. Still using the same technology, we have implemented a set of features. This one is interesting for end users. This is a feature that allows directly from the portal to browse the Windows service and the Linux daemons from the instance. This is very interesting because customers, they can define some services to monitor, and in case one of the services is crashing, we are able to send alerts, message, SMS, and so on. And we're still using RabbitMQ for this technology. Still, RabbitMQ usage allows to check all hard drives. And the last point was maybe a bit quick. This tool provides a way to send PowerShells and Linux commands directly to VM without connecting using SSH or Microsoft RDP. The goal of all the sets of features is to provide everything directly from an external portal. People do not need to connect to the instance using any solution, SSH, RDP, or any other thing. They can do everything from the web page or from API. So to finish this first demo, I will show you how we do instance creation. We try to make this process as easy as possible, but even in CE, in CloudStack UI, it's already very simple. So there is nothing special here. We just select CPU, frequency, RAM, and primary storage. The network selection. The process I will show you later is always based on VPC. We do not work on shared network, only VPC. So here we have created an instance. I wanted to show you another point, interesting, which is the visual network solution. It's a tool also developed at Dimsi to present the network topology using the VPC, the tiers, the instance, all forwarding, all rules, incoming, outgoing. The idea of this project initially was to provide a way to manage all infrastructure directly from a single page. Later we extended for other purpose. We can now export directly to a Microsoft Word document, which can be interesting for customer wanting to creating architecture document or what we call in France the DAT. And then the last point I wanted to show about our core infrastructure is the ability for us to act as our end user. When an end user has a problem, we can directly connect as this user, so we have exactly the same set of features as the user. And I think for this it's done. So now I've shown you the basic features of our infrastructure, which is definitely very close to CloudStack core features. For us, the important was to extend these features, and now I will tell you how and why. So project overview, the why, the what, and the how. At Dimsi, on a daily basis, we are facing competitors such as Microsoft, such as SAP or Salesforce or any other massive software as a service provider. We do think that software as a service is great. It allows customers to make very quick deployment. I mean, that's a fact. You can go very quick with software as a service. You reduce the investment, which means you just click and it creates mailboxes, CRM system, and so on. It's quite easy to manage. I mean, a very reduced team can handle thousands of mailboxes. Previously, for Exchange, for example, it was a few guys who were not able to manage thousands of people. The only problem about software as a service is we think it's definitely locked. It means it's not reversible. If you are, I think a lot of people in this room are using Office 365. If you want to easily move from Office 365, it can be a big challenge because Microsoft do anything to make you stay. That's the same for the CRM system, and most of the software as a service are very locked. We had a thing because very often there is an on-premise version of all software as a service. Few of them do not offer this possibility. Salesforce, for example, there is no on-premise version, definitely. So this project will never work with Salesforce. But for many of them, there is this on-premise version, not always with the same set of features, that's right, sometimes. And companies like Microsoft, they enjoy giving more features for online version. That's the point. But this on-premise version do exist. Our vision is we might be able to host this on-premise version on the top of infrastructure as a service solution, a reliable one and a powerful one, and I'm mentioning CloudStack, of course. And if we were able to add management tools to manage this complex software with intelligence inside the management tools, we might be able to provide for our customer the same level of service than software as a service. It means we could be able to provide very easy solution on the top of infrastructure as a service. So for us, what are the goals of our project? First goal, of course, is to extend the CloudStack use of our customer. This is something we would like to offer as free service for our customer. It's just one advantage for them to come at CloudStack provider. We would like to give options for non-specialists. It means today, I mean even particularly in France, where you are a business owner of a small or medium company, you want mailbox, you go to Office 365, that's it. Few of them go to Google, but most of them go to Office 365. There is no choice. And why everybody is going to Office 365? It's because it's easy. You click, it works. So we would like to give another option for our customer. And the important part is the personal data. When you host your core business, mailbox can be very sensitive data, CRM as well, specific application the same. When you host this data inside a big software as a service provider, you do not know what they do of your data. You do not own your data. We want people to own their infrastructure. We want people to be able to just leave the provider, just export their virtual machine and go another one. This is something not possible at software as a service. And the last point is, of course, we want this work to be done as open source and open to any contributor. In terms of features, in the example I will show you later, we first worked on a deployment of IIS, which is the web server of Microsoft. This was interesting because with Apache we have a lot of different implementation. With IIS, it's a very, very low implementation. So we want our project to be able to manage a service catalog, which means create a catalog allowing people to create a new service, to create all script to make the pre-checks and the topology support. We also want a deployment API which means allow third-party application to access an API, which lists all services to deploy and to manage. We want an API to check the requirements, which means browse CloudStack instance and display available instance for a deployment. We also want this project to be multiple instance support. It means from a single click, I want to create a complex network with multiple tiers, with a DMZ, with database, with web servers, with only a few clicks. This is something already possible with many Puppy, Chief, and so on. The thing which is not possible currently is the post-install management. And this is something very important for us. It's the possibility to manage service after a deployment. It's not only a deployment service, it's a deployment and post-installation management service. And the last point is hybrid scenarios. One of our use cases would be a customer with Exchange server or any Zimbra server, for example, on-premise. Customer wants to move on the cloud, which is a very good point, I think, for most of us here. The customer has few options. The first one is just to move to Office 365, probably connector already existing. You just plug the connector and it will work. Another solution might be to move to this kind of project to install and deploy an on-premise service and to be able to manage all the solution directly from a single point inside CloudStack. So these are the key features of the project we are working on to manage directly instance services. A few technical details about architecture. Right now, I think as most of CloudStack deployment, the CloudStack part is many management service, management servers, DB servers, and the instant part. This is something that everybody, I think, know well, so I won't go inside details. The important part for us is the RabbitMQ part, which is something we add to our infrastructure as a broker between the instance and the deployment service and the deployment API. Why did we choose this kind of architecture? It's because we didn't want to open anything on any instance. We are not able to define a new IP, to define any translation for our customer. So we wanted a solution to allow directly a customer instance to access the world and to receive communication from our management and deployment services. About the flow. The flow of the system is composed of the website or the API calls, which allow people to select a service, to select a topology, to make review, and then the daemon is called. The daemon is called with all actions to plan. So in the next example or in the next demo, I will show you the IIS implementation. The daemon receives IIS creation on a specific instance. The daemon will make a parsing of all action, will potentially create a new network, a new CloudStack network, will create all instances available or needed for the deployment, will deploy services, and will reply to any status request. The other point is inside the instance. We are for the instance management, we had to create a Windows service and a Linux daemon, which allows directly CloudStack to discuss with the instance. So we have a service or a daemon inside instance. They send what we call the signalization. It means the service. The service tells CloudStack that instance is ready. The service tells CloudStack that the hard drive is about to be full. And this is the service that make and that permit communication to be done. And the last point is broker. None of the things we see here would be possible without a broker. which manage the queues, which manage the reliability of all the system. I will now show you the demo of this implementation. So once again, we will create an IIS service inside a VM. We will do this in few steps. So the first part is to go to the infrastructure. We will, okay, so here we are in the service part. So this is the service catalog. The service catalog will display all service available inside the deployment. Right now we have only this Microsoft IIS service. Second step, the solution is checking inside CloudStack, inside all VPC, all tiers. The system is checking, is there any available instance and compliant instance to operate with this service? For this demo, we are working on a VPC with only one available instance, so the solution is displaying only one Windows instance.
So that's an existing VM instance,
Exactly.
within my account as a tenant?
That's correct. We have two options. Either we can use existing VM, of course, or the other option is to create a new one. It means, this is, I mean, we are in the early days of this project. This is a simple scenario. A more complex scenario will be you want to create a solution with failover DB, with two front-end service with load balancing between both of them, a middleware. So you may have very complex topology, and you may use existing service or new instance. The other solution will be, as I mentioned earlier, to use hybrid scenario. What about creating service with VM inside CloudStack and VM inside the customer data center? With this kind of approach, you can massively extend the possibility. So now let's continue. I select existing instance. You create association. Basically, it's you tell the system to install IIS inside this VM, and in the background, what is going? Oh, sorry. What is going in the background? The implementation solution is sending a lot of requests to the VM directly using the message worker, using RabbitMQ. The VM is first being created by CloudStack, of course. So the VM is created. The VM will send signalization to CloudStack, so it's telling I'm now ready. Because sometimes with Windows VM it might take some time after the first boot for the VM to be completely available. And after the VM sends the signalization, the service will send PowerShell commands, Linux command, or any other system command. The idea is to have interface between a third-party application, service, and instance without opening any network port. I don't know if I can. I think I have to go to take this video from the beginning. Okay, so that was exactly what I was explaining. When you make association between the solution and the instance, the process is beginning. So command is sent to CloudStack to check if the VM is running fine, and then we establish the communication channel to send the PowerShell command. It's an IIS system, so it's a PowerShell-based installation, but it could be any Linux solution. It's exactly working on the same way. We also worked for the reboot commands because it could be a challenge to send a command that need the VM to reboot. So all this stuff are already properly done. And now, after this initial process, we will have a VM with IIS solution working, which is good, but for non-specialists, it's very difficult to use IIS. It means they don't want to connect to the instance, they don't want to establish RDP connection, they do not know this thing. So what we wanted is the second part of the project is the management. This is done for AIS, this will be done for any other system. This is the possibility directly from external portal to manage the application. So here we have created IIS service on this instance, which is the test window. Once the service is deployed, it means from the deployment API, I will be able to manage this service. So for IIS, which is a web service, I am able to create a new website, I am able to manage my pools and to make file transfers. This is what I will show you now. If it works. Yeah. When we create the service, there is no website directly created. So our end user will have the possibility to add a new website on IIS topology. Once a new website is created, people have the possibility to manage this website, which means define and manage the application pools, create new pools with pipeline, with .NET version, possibility to start and stop the website, and to manage the content of their website. For Apache, this will be exactly the same. It means you do not need to connect to FTP to connect as well RDP or other. You can directly manage the content of your instance using, on the background, it's RPC calls using RabbitMQ. And here we have created a new folder inside the instance, and now on the creation process, we can use this newly created folder, the new IIS. We have to define a name of this website. We define, we choose the application pool, and optionally we can use a host name. And that's it. The new website is created. What happened in the background? It's still the same. We do the front end, which is a nice website, but this might be application, mobile application, or any other stuff, using calls for the deployment service, and the deployment service is queuing the command to RabbitMQ. The instance is waiting, is listening to this queue, and when the instance detects that commands are directed to his own direction, the instance will make the calls, will make the PowerShell calls, the system calls, and will make a callback directly to RabbitMQ. And so, as I mentioned, you can do any action. This management functionality are defined inside the service template. It means anybody might or will be able to create a new service support. Today it's IIS, tomorrow it could be anything. People will be able to create the configuration file to manage all these actions. And that's it for the IIS part. So now I will quickly show you the next step. The first step of the project was to introduce this work to the community, because we worked on this for quite many months now. So and we worked just internally. So we wanted to introduce this work to you to get some feedbacks and to see if there would be any interested people to onboard to this project. The second thing would be to integrate this work as a CloudStack plugin. Right now it's more external work with some .NET service created by our team. So we think we might move the service directly to CloudStack, and rather than creating a new API, maybe we could create an instance management API as a plugin. We have to work on the multi-instance deployment. Here we seen a single instance deployment. It means I want IIS system on one instance. The next step for us will be to create multiple instances, because we are in the Dynamics 365 business at Dimsi, and we have a lot of customers asking to get on-premise deployment but hosted in public cloud. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for all other technologies such as SAP, or we might get the same feedback. So the idea will be to create very complex topology with multiple tiers and multiple instances, and just manage them using the same interface I shown you. So for us this will be the next step, and of course this is a project we are working as an open source project. So now if you have any question about the thing you've just seen, I will be very happy to reply. Thank you.
I think we'll go for questions over a beer, shall we?
Definitely.
If anybody's got any immediate questions. Right, thank you, Grégoire. Right, just finally, before Mike unlocks the beers, massive thank you to all of our speakers. Give them a round of applause. Grégoire made an amazing effort there to come today. Mike, Bobby, we're missing Boyan. Am I missing anybody else? Mike. And Mike, thanks guys. I mean, these events are all about the people, and we know, of course, people coming to share their experiences, so thank you very much. Finally, massive thank you again to Mike and the team here for making us feel very welcome, feeding us, watering us apparently in a minute, and looking after us. So thanks a lot to the Ticketmaster guys. Go to the bar.